I stand today on behalf of my constituents of Bowmanville, Oshawa North to oppose Bill C-9 and support efforts to further scrutinize and study this legislation. I share my time with the member from York Centre. Mr. Speaker, there are many problems with Bill C-9 and the Liberal attempt to amend Bill C-9 to criminalize the reading and sharing of Bible verses in this country. We oppose this for many reasons, but I do want to draw attention to an area that has not gotten enough attention, which is the efforts of the Liberal Party to enact a form of cultural imperialism on Christians, Muslims, and Jews in this country. I want to share with you, Mr. Speaker, an academic definition of cultural imperialism, because I am sure many in the House probably are not used to hearing that term to describe what the Liberal Party is attempting to do to citizens of our country. This definition comes from EBSCO, a research database published in 2024, and the definition reads, as I say, cultural imperialism refers to the imposition of one culture's values, beliefs, and practices over another, often leading to the erosion of the latter's unique cultural identity. It manifests through various mediums, including education, religion, and media, where dominant cultures often shape and redefine the social and ethical frameworks of less dominant societies. Cultural imperialism causes changes that are usually faster than would otherwise occur, and in a direction that benefits those from the dominant or influencing culture. The faster pace can mean that the changes have a destabilizing effect on other aspects of the culture, and the association of the changes with benefits accruing to members of the dominant culture. Taken together, that means that one party is benefiting from actions that are harmful to others. Now, Mr. Speaker, I share this definition to provide some context for what I believe the Liberal Party is doing right now. They've been in power for over a decade and tried their very best to exercise influence over every institution in this country. They've abused the power of the federal government to impose their values, beliefs, and practices on as many institutions in our country as they possibly can. And today, we see evidence that they, through Bill C-9, and the Liberal effort to amend Bill C-9, an effort to exercise that cultural imperialism over churches, mosques, and synagogues. I provided an academic definition for cultural imperialism, but I would also like to provide a pop culture reference. The hit song from last year, Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us," he uses some language to describe colonial thinking in his diss track to Drake. He says, and I quote, "You not a colleague, you a colonizer." And that, Mr. Speaker, is precisely what the Liberal Party is attempting to do to Christians, Muslims, and Jews in this country. Liberals are not treating the diverse communities of our country with any degree of respect. They are not treating them like colleagues to listen to them and work with them and respect their traditions and their faiths. Instead, they are behaving like colonizers, attempting to abuse state power to exercise undue influence by attempting to criminalize things that families in this country have believed in since the very founding of this nation by the English and the French. Now, they will, of course, as they have throughout this morning and this afternoon, made efforts to characterize our concerns over this legislation as theatrics. But I bring it back to what was said, the actual language used by the now Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture, who was promoted, Mr. Speaker, by the Prime Minister after he made these comments. As chair of the Justice Committee on October 30th, he said that 3 books of the Bible, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Romans, are hateful. He used the language of hate to describe verses in the Bible that people have prayed over, they have read to their children, they have shared in communities all across this country for a very long time. And the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that the Liberal Party pretends, and I emphasize, Mr. Speaker, pretends to care about, enshrines the right to religious freedom precisely as a sign of respect for the fact that there are things the government should not have its fingerprints on. The government should not be making its way into churches, mosques, and synagogues in an effort to bring liberal values and use the criminal justice system to enforce liberal values on the private religious lives of Canadian citizens. But that is precisely what a colonizer would do. That is precisely what a cultural imperialist would do.
And liberal colonial.
It would look at churches, mosques, and synagogues and say, how can the federal government get their way in there? And it is wrong. It is unethical, and it is against the traditions of this country. It is an insult to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, one thing I have observed in the relatively short time that I have been a member of Parliament is that the Liberal Party does this, I don't know what you would call it, mind games, false presentation, making an effort to convince Christian, Muslims, and Jews of various cultural backgrounds that they respect them. They make this effort to show we want to hear you and welcome you into Canadian politics. I've seen them with my own eyes, Mr. Speaker, in the Toronto area, running around at cultural events, running around at cultural holidays, eating samosas and jerk chicken and pretending that they respect people from diverse community backgrounds. They run around and they offer people DEI and slogans like diversity is our strength. They say all kind of funny things, diversity, vote for me, you know, that kind of attitude that they bring around our communities. And then what do they do, Mr. Speaker, when they come to Ottawa? What they do is they want to culturally imperialize the people of this country and their children. They actually have no respect for diversity at all, at all. And any Christian, Muslim, or Jew whose ancestors come from any part of the world must be able to unite in recognizing that the Liberal Party has no respect for our religions, our traditions, or our values. They believe that the federal government is superior to us, and they believe they have the right to impose their values on our churches, mosques, and synagogues. You know, I believe when we talk about the language of colonizers and culturally imperialists, we have to recognize that when they attack Scripture, when they attack the Bible, when they attack our religions, when they try to justify bringing the criminal justice system into our places of worship, what they are doing is trying to strip away the things that make us well-rounded people. To them, we are simply economic inputs. We should have no culture. They believe we should have no meaning in our lives. They offer us nihilism. They offer us the chance to be a column on a spreadsheet used to calculate GDP. That's all they think of us.
Or votes.
And the efforts that we make to be well-rounded people, to be part of a community, to believe in something, to have conviction, to be connected to the traditions of our fathers, our mothers, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, they ridicule and they insult. They call it hateful to believe that we come from something. But Mr. Speaker, we stand on the shoulders of giants who sacrificed for us to be here. They sacrificed for us to have the life that we have today. And we will not denounce the very people who make our lives possible. We will not denounce the cultures and traditions that they come from. And we will not sit here quietly and idly while the Liberal Party seeks to call our ancestors hateful. We will not accept that. We will reject their cultural imperialism. We will call them colonizers when they behave like colonizers. And in closing, I will suggest, Mr. Speaker, that one of the reasons they denigrate Canadian history, one of the reasons that they keep the Canadian flag at half-mast for a year, one of the reasons they support teaching our children in this country that our country should be ashamed of its own history is because they are embarrassed by what they see in the mirror. And they have not learned the lessons from history, and they repeat the mistakes made in history to colonize and imperialize over other people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.